Sir.
Yes, tell me.
సార్ ఏ సెక్షన్ వాళ్ళు బి సెక్షన్ గ్రూప్ మీరు క్లాస్ చెప్పేటప్పుడు కొంతమంది జాయిన్ అవుతున్నారంట సార్.
అవునా? if they join, okay, because I'm going parallelly. Okay, అక్కడ జాయిన్ అయితే no need to come here.
అంటే సార్ అంటే అటెండెన్స్ విషయంలో ఇష్యూస్ వస్తాయా అని.
No, పర్లేదు, నేను చూసుకుంటున్నాను పార్టిసిపెంట్స్. మీకు
ఓకే సార్.
and have to ask you as a CR. No problem. మీకు తెలుసు కదా.
ఓకే సార్.
సో ఇంకొకటి, లెట్ దెమ్ ఇది ఏ సెక్షన్ వాళ్ళు ఆ సెక్షన్లోనే జాయిన్ అవ్వనండి. ఎందుకు అనవసరం ఏదో ఇఫ్ దే హ్యావ్ ఎనీ సమ్ అదర్ ప్రాబ్లమ్స్ అప్పుడు మీకు చెప్పి వెళ్ళనియండి, సో దట్ మీరు అక్కడ కౌంట్ చేసుకుంటారు.
ఎస్ సార్. అదే సార్ నాకు తెలియదు, బి సెక్షన్ సిఆర్ నాకు ఫోన్ చేసి ఇన్ఫార్మ్ చేసినాడు సార్, మీ వాళ్ళు జాయిన్ అవుతున్నారు ఒకసారి చూసుకో అని.
లేదు
అందుకని
బికాస్ ఆయన వాళ్ళనే చూసుకుంటాడు. అక్కడ నేను అటెండెన్స్ అడిగినా సరే ఆ డేకి తను ఇవ్వలేడు. సో మీరు మిమ్మల్ని మీరే చూసుకోండి. అంటే మీ సెక్షన్ వాళ్ళు వెళ్ళిపోతే దే విల్ నాట్ బి హ్యావింగ్ ఎనీ అటెండెన్స్. అది
ఓకే సార్.
ఓకే. Okay, so I'll be waiting for one more minute and then we will continue. Okay, Rohit, unmute yourself.
I'm already unmuted, sir.
Okay. So you just, there is no need, మీరు అనవసరంగా డిస్టర్బ్ అయ్యి క్లాస్ వినకుండా మీరు చూడాల్సిన అవసరం లేదు. ఇక్కడ నేను పార్టిసిపెంట్స్ చూసినప్పుడు ఒక 11:30కి అలా ఒకసారి మీరు చూసుకుంటే యూ విల్ గెట్ టు నో ఎంతమంది పార్టిసిపెంట్స్ ఉన్నారో మీకు తెలిసిపోతుంది. కాబట్టి అండ్ యూ గివ్ మీ రఫ్ ఫిగర్, అంటే పర్టికులర్గా ఎంతమంది అని కాదు, బట్ నంబర్ అనేది మీకు అంత ఖచ్చితంగా ఏం అవసరం లేదు. బట్ ఎనీవేస్ దోస్ హూ హ్యావ్ ఆల్రెడీ got in that particular section, ask them.
Sir, my voice break outundi.
Is that clear now? Is this clear now?
Yes sir. Yes sir.
One second. Let me just fix this. Okay, how about now? Can you hear me properly? Hello?
Okay sir.
Okay sir.
Yes sir.
Okay, fine.
Yes sir.
Okay. Yeah, I'll be sharing my screen with you all. Just a moment. Fine. So I'll be sharing my screen. Can you able to look at this screen?
Yes sir.
Okay, fine.
Yes sir.
Okay. So we are already seen how FEM is important as a numerical method, and what does actually a numerical method does, and why a numerical method always gives us an approximate solution but not the exact solution. And we have also seen a brief history of how FEM has developed over the years, and how FEM is actually developed as a tool to understand the structural analysis of aircraft structures. And we have also seen the history, who are the people who have actually extensively worked to improve FEM, or in for that matter, to make FEM as a robust as it is now. And we have also seen who is the first person who was given the name finite element method, and his name was Clough in 1960. And I told you from there on 1960s, engineers used the method not only for structural analysis, but also for fluid flow problems, heat transfer, structural analysis in the sense to calculate stress, not only to calculate stress or to have stress analysis. People have also used this method in fluid flow, in fluid mechanics problems, heat transfer problems, and many other areas, which at the end of this particular lecture, I'm also going to tell you what all these areas are. And we also looked at the first book that was published in 1967 in finite element method was Finite Elements by Zenkiewicz. I told you that he's actually okay. Hello? Hello? Anybody please respond? Can you able to listen to me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So now, please unmute yourself. So the textbooks that we prefer for this particular course is a very famous textbook, not just in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, entire India, in the entire nation. People follow this particular book for finite elements, that is Chandrupatla and Belugundu. Most extensively, people refer this particular textbook, Chandrupatla and Belugundu, finite elements in engineering. And I have this PDF file. I can send it to you, maybe to the CR. You can share it. But yes, this is equally important. You may get this PDF, but this textbook is for your lifelong reference. It's not for one particular semester, but in fact, this textbook can be useful for your life. Why I said this? Because within few minutes you'll be knowing why I said this. And the other book was Finite Element Analysis by Jalaluddin, which is also a very good book, and you find it very friendly, because the first book Chandrupatla is you cannot easily understand it unless until you go through a lecture, and and then only you can able to understand it. But Jalaluddin, you can easily understand it. It's very clearly written. Okay, so these are the two textbooks which I would prefer. And most importantly, in Chandrupatla, let me tell you, in your examination, the direct questions without even changing the numerals, the questions from the first textbook Chandrupatla and Belugundu will come into your semester exams. So that is the reason. It's not just for JNTU Kakinada, for any other universities, as I told you, in India. People extensively refer to this particular textbook, Chandrupatla and Belugundu. Now, what are the prerequisites for this particular course, finite element method? See, for any course, before learning that course, you should have some understanding of what are the courses that you know, what is the kind of knowledge that you are supposed to possess. For example, if you want to understand thermal engineering 1 and thermal engineering 2, you all know very well that you need to have a good understanding of thermodynamics. Similarly, in the same way, in order to understand finite element method, I think it is inevitable to have a basic knowledge of calculus, which is a basic understanding of differentiation and integration. Basic understanding. I'm not asking you to go deep into it. Just basic formulas of differentiation and integration, and also the basic knowledge of matrices, because you will see that you're supposed to see that this subject is more of like matrices rather than anything else. So matrix knowledge is also important, but that too not in a deepest way. See, at least 10th standard, or 10th standard is enough, like, to be very frank with you. But +1 or diploma level material is also good enough, right? So with this prerequisites, let me just quickly go into our course. So I have given you what exactly, until now I have told you that how exactly the FEM is, what is FEM? It's a numerical method, and what does actually numerical method does, and how the problems can be tackled in a very surface level. But from here on, we'll actually diving into finite element method. So here in this, at this particular point of time, we are actually diving into the world of FEM. But before I go to that particular level, let me tell you what are the applications of this particular subject, finite element method. What are the application areas, in which areas engineers use this particular method to solve their problems. Okay, so let me just tell you what are the application areas of finite element method. And let me tell you, any one of your 4 sets will definitely have a question on applications of finite element method. It's most probably, it's not 100% I tell you, but it's very likely that you may get any one of your sets will get applications of finite element method. Okay, so what are the applications? And I thought, like, instead of giving you the entire applications, I thought like it would be much better if I can give you the branch wise applications, like the discipline wise applications. So in mechanical engineering, I just need to give you a disclaimer here. It's not like what are the applications which are given in each slide. Those are not the only applications. The list, this particular list is not exhaustive, right? You can have other applications also, but given this, there are certain constraints like time and the space constraints. So I have only given you only some application areas, but in fact you can be having more number of applications, right? So in mechanical engineering, the most important applications are stress concentration problems. So what do you mean by stress concentration problems? So for example, you have an automobile structure, you have a design. For example, if you are an automobile engineer, you have come up, let us suppose you have come up with a design, and you need to do what are the forces acting on it. So you will for your particular design, you will understand with those loading conditions, with those forces in effect, where the stresses are mostly concentrated. Why is that important? Because those are the places where there may be a potential danger of failure. There may be a danger of the failure of the structure at that particular point. So it is very important in mechanical design or mechanical analysis, structural analysis, that you need to find the stress concentration points, right? So you need to find stress where the stress is actually concentrated. So in those areas, there will be a potential danger of the the structure get damaged. Maybe a fracture can take place at that particular point, or even there may be a complete structural damage. So stress concentrations are very important to know, and using finite element method, you can find those stress concentration for any structure. Okay, now stress analysis of pressure vessels, pistons. You see boiler has exploded. You will find this kind of news, right? So why boiler might explode? Because of the pressure inside it. What is pressure? Force per area. It is nothing but stress, right? The pressure, the stress inside the fluid, the force the fluid applies on the walls of the cylinder would be very high. It may even explode. So the stress analysis of pressure vessels is very important. You need to know where the stress is actually and how the stress is actually concentrated in those vessels, pressure vessels and all that, even in pistons also. Now, the stress analysis of composite systems. What do you mean by composite system? For example, aircraft wing is the best example of composite material, right? It's not a simple one single material for wing. People go for composite materials so that they will be having the desired properties, right? So for that, how the stresses are, or where the stresses are actually concentrated, or how the stress is actually propagated in those wings and all that, on those stress analysis of composite materials, linkages, how the stress is linked to stress is acting on one link to the other link, in mechanical components, and if, of course even in gears, how the stress is being concentrated. All these analysis can be made. And why I'm saying all these things is because you are in final year, you have to choose your problem. And most importantly, 90%, whatever the applications I'm telling you now, you may be having, you may be doing, even you do your project work in-house, in the college with whatever the resources you have to analyze it. Even though you make a structure, any sort of structure, you have to analyze how those stresses are. So for that, you will definitely require. So that is the reason I'm telling you all these things. Now, steady state temperature distribution in solids and fluids. I told you, it's not just for structural problems we use PEM, but we also use for heat transfer problems. Even I haven't given you fluid mechanics problem, even for fluid mechanics, because I deliberately didn't given you, so that in hydraulics of applications we have already covered it in the slides to come. So that is the reason I have taken out here. So anyhow, in fluid mechanics problems also, we'll find with the primary quantity to analyze is the velocity, and from there on you'll find the secondary quantities. Okay, so velocity is very important. Similarly, for your temperature distribution, steady state temperature distribution, using PEM, you can find out the temperature at various points in the given direction. And once you find the temperature, you will know the distribution, how the temperature is distributed in that particular direction. Let us say X. If you take only thickness of slab, for example, in the X direction, in the thickness direction, how the temperature is changing. And once you know the distribution, you know the temperature gradient dt by dx. For example, if it is only one dimensional, as I told you, you will find Ka dt by dx, which is heat flux. Okay, so in that way, how you're going to tackle these problems using finite element method. Okay, so I'm just giving an example how the methodology is. We're going to see in the course in the days to come. Okay. In civil engineering, yes, you all know very well all the civil structures that you see. We use finite element method to analyze it. Static analysis of trusses, frames, folded plates. What do you mean by static analysis? Static is the structure which is in equilibrium, and when the forces are acting on it, how the displacements are. Because as I told you, in any structural problem, the major the primary quantity we need to find is displacement. Once you get the displacement, you find strain, change in position, that is displacement by original length, right? That gives you strain. And once you get the strain, you'll get stress. Sigma is equal to E into epsilon for one dimension I'm talking about, right? So epsilon is strain and E is Young's modulus. If you multiply both, you'll get the stress. So in any structural problem, it is very important. The primary quantity to find out is displacement. So static analysis of trusses, frames, folded plates, and all this. Where you find trusses, you say, for example, in railway bridges, you will find the truss structure. And not only that, if you go by highway, you will see a big electrical poles. Those are actually gone. Those are actually truss structures, right? Those are made of trusses. That structure is made of trusses. And in your engineering workshop in our college, if you might have, I don't know whether you are looked up or not, but if you look up, you will see the truss structure, a very simple truss structure over there. Similarly, in static analysis of shell roofs, walls, bridges, and all these we analyze. So any civil structure for that matter. And this is also very important. The third point, stress analysis of pre-stressed concrete structures. I don't know how many of you know this pre-stressed concrete structures, but pre-stressed concrete structures are which you extensively see while constructing a bridge. Like for example, in NAD, if you would see previously for constructing of bridges, what they do is they used to have the columns and whatever the long of the bridge, they used to construct the structure by using those columns. They used to lay that bridge and all that. But now what is really happening, if anyone have seen the NAD bridge, or if anyone living nearby, you would notice that a big pre-stressed structures, already manufactured structures, are getting to the workplace and they are joined one to one, and so that they can construct a bridge within a very short period of time. So those are actually pre-stressed. So even they actually, pre-stressed in the sense they make some stress testing and all that. So that is a concrete structure. So we call it as pre-stressed concrete structure. So for this structures for construction of bridges and all this pre-stacked concrete is very important, because see, if you, what happens with these pre-stacked concrete structures is you can parallelly construct this somewhere at some other place, and you can, meanwhile you can go on with digging the pillars and all that. You can go on with the rest of the work here in the construction site, and those already manufactured pre-stressed concrete structures, you can take you can get them to the site, and you can pile it one after the other, and you can lay the bridge. So previously it was not the case, and that is the reason nowadays the construction of bridges are are being done in a much faster time than the previous construction of bridges when you compare with the previous bridges. So that is one important aspect of this. So for the stress analysis of those kind of pre-stressed concrete structures, we use finite element method. So in not just in mechanical engineering, you at this point of time you might be knowing, but civil engineering, so engineering people also, finite element method is a core subject. So now for knowing, I mean, for calculating natural frequencies of structures, modes of structures, natural frequency modes. What do you mean by natural frequency modes? It's about calculating the vibrations of a structure. I don't know how many of you have seen this Tokomo. How many of you have heard about the bridge called Tokomo Bridge? It was collapsed after construction. It was collapsed just 1 week after the construction in, I think, yes, in US. So the Tokomo Bridge, if you go to Google, or if you can go to YouTube and type it, you will get to know the video of it. Or if you Google it, you will get to know about it. Tokomo, T-O-K-O-M-A, I guess, yes. Tokomo Bridge collapse. So that is because, see, the bridge was actually constructed very well, but unfortunately, that bridge might not have tested properly of its vibrations. So what really happened is that natural frequency of the wind has matched with the natural frequency of the bridge. So the bridge has collapsed. Or even, I do not know whether there might be an improper structure of dampers and all that. So whatever it might be the case, the bridge has collapsed just because of the vibrations. So that there is no stability. So the last point is stability of structures. So finite element method looks after all these things. So it is as important to civil engineers as mechanical engineers. Okay, so very important. Now, in biomedical engineering also, this has been finite element method has been using extensively. Stress analysis of eye bones, teeth, bones and teeth. I know about teeth a little bit because my brother is a dentist, so I can tell you much more about it. Because see, what happens is when some of your teeth has deteriorated, like it has been with some infection or with some sort of infection inside the root. So what they do, you will if it happens that you have to take your teeth, then the dentist will take out the teeth, and he will do some treatment to the root. That is what we call root canal treatment. Okay, he take out the infection with a small drilling kind of machine. He will drill over the root, and he very carefully take out the pus or whatever the infection out of it, and he will just close it. But most of the dentists, what they ask us to do is to have a duplicate teeth in place of that, right? So that is the reason is that very simple. If you have a books in a shelf very tightly packed, each book will be very strong with lot of stability. Each book will be having with lot of strength. It will not be. Please unmute yourself. Okay, so each book will be having lot of strength. But if you take out one particular book, you will observe that the strength has, that they feel much of strength of the books. Why? Because you have already taken one book. In the similar, what dentists suggest you is to, in order not to lose the strength of other teeth, what they generally tell you is to have a teeth in place of a vacant place, a duplicate teeth in place. So generally, so that it's not like for casting. You have now Hello, please unmute yourself. So
ఉల్లిపాయలు వేరే బయటికి వచ్చి ఉల్లిపాయలు నేల అనిపించి చెరిగిసి బస్తా కట్టారు.
please unmute your everybody. Okay, so that teeth, you know, while casting they have will have.
బయలుదేరుతారు.
The reason being is very simple. If you put a teeth, if you put a duplicate teeth, and if you you know, with a one bite, if that teeth will break, there is no use of it. So the dentist has to make sure that the teeth will resist. So they will go for different materials, but it is the job of a mechanical engineer to see what is the load bearing capacity of that particular teeth, that duplicate teeth made of zirconium or ceramic, whatever it is. Okay, so there it's very important even for bones, how what kind of loads or bones will act, and for eyeballs, if some what is the load, you know, the stress of that, if some beam of light is hitting on your eyes, or you know, what are the kind of pressure or stress that eyeball can take. So these are the analysis which comes under medical, but a mechanical engineer has to deal with it. Load bearing capacity of implant and prosthetic systems. See, now recently I've seen in MIT or some university, they have developed, maybe I think in Indian university itself, they have developed a handicapped wheelchair, and that wheelchair is not a normal wheelchair. That physically challenged person can actually stand. He can actually stand with that particular chair itself, and when he sits, it becomes a chair. So you might be asking me, sir, how could that be possible? A physically challenged person, if he is in wheelchair, how can he stand? That structure itself will give him strength to stand. So it was made in that way. So all these kind of, so in order to design these kind of systems, you need to, as an engineer, as a design engineer, you need to know what is the load bearing capacity of your design. Otherwise, that design will not be accepted. So that is it. So this also comes under biomedical, right? And lastly, the heart valves, you all know. So what is the kind of pressure with which the blood flows inside the heart, or what is the kind of pressure that these valves are under? So all these stresses, the stress calculation of these valves for any hypertension patient. So all these things will be calculated by using FEM. Even though those areas will come under biomedical, we mechanical engineers will have to take the job to analyze these things along with those medical people. Now, in aerospace engineering, you don't need me to tell you, like aircraft wing analysis, static analysis, fuselages, fins, rockets, spacecraft, missile structures, all these kind of things. And the natural frequency of this flutter, this flaps. I think you know flaps up, and they do like up and down in the wings, without which you cannot fly, you cannot have the lift. So natural frequency of this flutter, stability of aircraft, rocket structures, and all these things, so which we have already seen. So that is the reason I'm just going fast. In nuclear engineering, again, analysis of nuclear pressure vessels. It might be nuclear, it might be anything else, but the pressure vessels analysis, the stress analysis of pressure vessels. Containment structures. Why they said containment is, in a nuclear reactor, you'll be having a lot of shieldings. So those shielding structures are called as containment structures, because those are containment, those shields to be contained. Why? Because if there is any nuclear accident, that particular what we call the structure should not be collapsed, so that the radiation inside will come out. So those are called containment structures, and we will analyze what are the kind of stresses that those structures may take. And also again, temperature distribution application temperature distribution, again we can do using finite element method. And again, natural frequencies and the vibrations of this stability of these containment structures, you can find out, right? In hydraulic engineering, this is, I told you, I deliberately skipped the fluid mechanics part, because here I can deal with that. So in dams, what will be there? Water will be stored. When water is stored, it will be having potential energy. So there is, with depth, the pressure inside the water increases, as we all know. So with that heavy pressure, for that very pressure, the dam has to withstand, or in other words, the walls of the dam has to withstand. Otherwise, what happens is if the water level keeps on increasing, the dam may collapse. It can no longer withstand. Uh, the dam can no longer withstand the water pressure. So that is the reason. Even though they knew that the lower lying areas will be flooded, like we have seen in news, like Sri Salem Dam has opened its gates and so on and so forth. So even though they knew that the low lying areas will be flooded, but even then they have to open the dams. Why? Otherwise the dam itself may collapse and they cannot control the water, right? So this is very, very important. This is very important. And even for hydraulic structures like your underground sewage pipes, if they you need to know water at a very high pressure is going underground in those underlying sewage pipes, then if there is any damage, if the structure could not withstand that pressure, then the stress or pressure or nothing but stress. If that stress, if it cannot withstand that particular stress, then obviously the structure may collapse. So all these kind of problems will be addressed using finite element method. So this is it. These are the applications of finite element method, and I just want you to give the applications first. The reason being very simple, so that you will be knowing what are the areas that FEM can be worked. And in all these areas, whether you are a aerospace engineer, it's not necessarily important that you should be mechanical engineering. The greatness of FEM is if you learn FEM, you can work in a civil engineering background, construction works and all that. You can work in a biomedical engineering. You can work in aerospace engineering jobs. You can work in nuclear engineering area. You can work in hydraulic engineering and so on and so forth. Even, let me tell you, in electromagnetics, we use finite element method. ECE, electronics communication branch, they'll be having electromagnetics, but even for analyzing these electromagnetic waves and all that, finite element method can be applied. Now you might be little wondering, sir, what is this? How can the subject that we are learning can have applications in ECE? Yes, it can be having applications in ECE because it's not about the subject. It's just about the partial differential equation. It's all about the numerical method, finite element method does is it will convert this higher order partial differential equation to a system of linear algebraic equations. That is the work it does. So once you have a mathematical model which is in the form of a partial differential equation, if you give it, it doesn't matter from what kind of problem that this particular model is arising or mathematical equation you got. It doesn't matter from what kind of problem you got it. It's all that matters is if you get a partial differential equation, you must be in a position to convert that into a system of linear algebraic equations. That is what a numerical method does. And one such numerical method is finite element method, which is extensively used in academia as well as industry. So this is what I just want to tell you. Now, with this background, I just want to stop my sharing, and within 5 minutes, let me tell you, let me have a discussion on how finite element method is very important. When compared to all the other engineering, when you look into the engineering subjects, not just in Andhra and Telangana, but in the entire country. If you see the pass percentage of this particular subject, not just in BTech level, but even in postgraduate level like MTech, most of the failures in the final year, or for example, I talk about BTech because that is most relevant to you. Most of the failures in BTech in final year would come from one particular subject called finite element method. It might not be the case every time, but at least in JNTU Kakinada, it is the case. Now, why is that? Why there should be these many number of, why should people fail mostly in this particular subject? I do not know seriously, but there is a myth among the students. Before coming to my class, people ask me that, okay, sir, we came to know about this particular subject from our seniors or from other sources, that finite element method is a very hard subject, and most of the people will fail in this particular subject. Well, it might be the case, but I cannot agree, but if they say, okay, this is the only hard subject, in fact, there are many other subjects. It's not the hard subject, or even if it is a hard subject, there is no point in people to fail. In fact, it's not at all a hard subject. If you have a very good, if you go in a, analytical way, it might not be a hard subject. See, all that I can tell you is finite element method can be easily passed. It is the subject which can give you full to full marks in your 4-1 when compared to your 4-1 subjects. It is the only subject which has the potential to give you full to full marks. Full marks. In engineering, I think other than engineering mathematics, this is the subject which is having high potential to give you full to full marks. And it is not that much hard. So let me tell you very frankly that it is a myth. Even though it is true that most of the people have failed, they might have failed for some reason. Yes, it's not like it's very easy subject. I shouldn't say that. But at the same time, it's not very hard for you to understand. It's not that hard. So please leave this myth. And I think I have told you that if you give me more than 85% of attendance, I can assure you that 100% you will get failed. You will get passed. And that assurance I can give you not just for the first time. This is not for the first time, because I have a lot of faith in it, because I have already seen it happen. In fact, most of this, my students who have failed in this particular subject is not having even 70% or 60%. Those people having less than 70%, they have failed. Only 1% in my entire, dealing with this particular subject in all these 8 years, I have seen only one particular subject, one particular person who has got 78 or some percent, but he failed. I do not know why, but yes, sometimes unfortunate things happen. He has been very 82 or something, some percentage he has got attendance, but he failed. I was really shocked. And that is the reason I'm now telling you that 85% is my, that line. If you cross that 85% of attendance, 99.999%, or I can even give you 100% assurance that you will get passed in this particular subject. See, it's not fair for me to talk about pass, but yes, that is all that matters. At the end of the day, we have to pass. And other than that, whatever the good mark you get, even though you may get full to full marks, but this is something that you have to pass. You have to pass this minimum mark, and then you have to achieve whatever the mark you can achieve. So that is the reason I'm telling you, for those people who feel that, okay, it seems like Sir is again all and time and again he's saying partial differential, this thing, that thing. Don't see, we have a good methodology, to be very frank with you. And it has been worked. It has been working, to be very frank with you. I teach both BTech as well as MTech. So even my own faculty members who have studied MTech, I have taught them finite element method, and they have done reasonably well, right? So please keep this in mind, and that can be equally applied to you. Okay, so don't put any myths in your mind. And with this, I just want to